Welcome back, guys. This is a user requested video. Just wanted to make this video because it was requested and to kind of give you some insight and to kind of maybe change your way of thinking about this subject. And I'm going to start with closer relatives and work my way out and just give you some things to think about and maybe help you. So you grow up, you have possibly brothers and sisters. I'm going to start with brothers and sisters. If you are the oldest child, you might have younger siblings, okay? And for me, I have a younger sister. When we were younger, we fought a lot. We would annoy each other on purpose, try to torment each other, stuff like that. But as you get older, and everyone's relationship is different, you realize that your siblings can be your bestest friends. Maybe for certain reasons you don't, like them growing up, you resent each other, who knows why, gender differences, they annoy you, they try to hang out with you and your friends and things like that. But these are your bestest friends, your siblings. I have an older brother as well. Your older siblings, you tend to look up to them. You look up to them, you want to be like them, do things like them. They're kind of like the natural leaders. You, as an older sibling, have that kind of responsibility. It's unwritten, but you have the responsibility to lead for your siblings, to make a good example, and you're kind of learning too. So as you're learning, they get to learn through your mistakes. This is true in my example. Okay, I got to see my brother go through things. I kind of got to learn through him what things to do, not to do. You learn. And don't take these relationships for granted. You will always have your siblings until you don't. Okay, for those that are fortunate enough to still have them, you would have to do some pretty wicked stuff to sever those ties between your siblings. So if your siblings are being annoying, things like that, that's just kind of how it is. But at the end of the day, you're always going to have them. So work on those relationships. Me and my sister got really close when I was in high school. We talked a lot. We talked to each other a lot more about things that are going on. And we became a lot closer friends. She's one of my best friends. I don't talk to her as much nowadays, but we still have a good relationship. I live with my brother, and he's one of my best friends too. So don't take your sibling relationships for granted. They can be your best friends. You can learn a lot from them. They will always have your back. Now, if it gets to a point where they're impeding on your life and they're holding you back, then you got to make the decision yourself on whether or not, you might just be living with them. You're stuck with them for, say you're living with your parents still. You got to just deal with them. You can't force somebody to change, right? You can kind of maybe hope that they will, or hope that you rub off on them and that they change, but you can't force people to change. So if they're a detriment to your life, what you want to accomplish, and they're holding you back, they're negatively affecting your life that bad, then you might have to create separation between them. I think the saying is blood is thicker than water. I think that's the saying, but you don't have to live a miserable life, subdue yourself to make your siblings happy. Okay, so just think about that. Now, as for your parents, some people grow up with one parent, some people have both. Your mom and dad, depending on your relationship with them, or him or her, and you're raised, they, to varying degrees, gave up a lot for you. Maybe some did more than others. If you are treated properly by your parents, if your parents are treating you good, and they're raising you, putting a roof over your head, feeding you, things like that, which I'm sure if you're able to watch YouTube on an iPhone, you're probably doing all right. For me, I want to pay my parents back everything and more. That's how I feel about my parents, about how much they gave up for me, how much care they gave me. Like, yeah, my mom spanked me and my sister with a wooden paddle a time or two for fighting and being annoying and being a nuisance and stuff, but I love my parents. So your siblings and your parents, don't take those relationships for granted. Those are the relationships that, if anything, you sacrifice a little bit for those ones. Now, okay, we're going to get further into the blood is thicker than water thing. Some of your normal friends that aren't blood relatives can be like family, even more so than your actual relatives. For me, I had some normal best friends, and some of my cousins are my bestest friends, especially growing up, from both sides of my family. So you gotta just think about it logically a little bit. Sometimes your actual friends are going to be closer to you than some of your relatives, obviously. Your second cousin on your mom's side that you never see might not give a shit about you, and you might not give a shit about them. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to sacrifice 4 hours of your weekend to go to a family reunion to see people you might not ever talk to ever in your life just for the sake of doing it. So like just things like that. But my cousins, my siblings, my brother, my sister, my parents, my grandmas, all are really close to me, and I care about them so much. Naturally, growing up, especially my grandmas were a lot more involved in my life, so I have a natural affinity to care about them more so. And that they have more of a connection with me, so that's normal. So if there's people that are related to you that don't necessarily have a connection with you, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you should, just because they're blood relatives, it doesn't mean you would have to take a bullet for them like you would for somebody else in your family. You have to do what's best for you in your life, your situation, for the people that you care about around you, and prioritize those relationships over others. You can't be friends with everybody, and if you try, it's only going to be a detriment to you, your time, your energy. If my eyeball here is a circle, and out here, all these relationships, all these potential relationships, if I try to have a strong connection with everybody at the same time, I'm only going to be able to have this much energy into everybody. Whereas if I have 5 friends instead of 20, I can give them more energy like this. If I only have a few friends, I can give each of them a lot more energy. If I have 100 friends, I can only give each of those 100 friends a little bit of energy. So I hope that made sense. Maybe not. It made sense to me. The more relationships you have, the more things you commit your time and energy to, the less that goes back into you, and the less you can show up for yourself and take care of yourself. So don't take those relationships for granted, especially your siblings and your parents. Now, if you don't know your father, if you didn't grow up with a father, or your father or someone was abusive, your caretaker was abusive, that's a different approach that I don't have experience with. But you have to think about that morally. Do you want to grow up and maybe they had something going on, obviously, probably, to treat you like that? Do you want to kill them with kindness and still be there, take care of them? Those kinds of things that I am not good at. Okay, I don't have that experience, so I don't know. Just some thoughts for today. A different subject. I wanted to get right into it. Cut out my usage of the word like, which I think I did. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. You have been blowing me up and supporting me so much, and I'm super thankful for it. And I'm not going to take that for granted, ever. Even if we never hit 500 subscribers, even if, you know, nothing comes out of this, I have appreciated all the support. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.